The Lufthansa Heist, December 11, 1978, New York City. The Lufthansa Heist, a brazen robbery that inspired Martin Scorsese's iconic film Goodfellas, unfolds at JFK Airport. It's 3 a.m., and the cargo terminal, brimming with untraceable cash from Germany, hums with routine. A black Ford Econoline van pulls up, and 6 masked men spill out, moving like shadows with a plan as tight as a drum, orchestrated by James Burke, aka Jimmy the Gent, a Lucchese crime family associate. The heist is months in the making. The tip comes from Louis Werner, a Lufthansa worker drowning in gambling debts, who spills details on cash shipments, security gaps, and alarm codes. Burke's crew, hardened thieves like Tommy DeSimone and Angelo Sepe, executes with precision. They cut the gate's padlock, storm the terminal, and tie up workers with duct tape. No shots fired. In 64 minutes, they haul out 40 cartons of $5 million in cash and $875,000 in jewels. $25 million in today's dollars. The haul's staggering. The biggest cash robbery in U.S. history then. Burke orders silence, but greed cracks the plan. Crew members flaunt the cash new Cadillacs, lavish parties drawing eyes. Burke, paranoid, turns ruthless, orchestrating a killing spree. Parnell stacks. Edwards, tasked with ditching the van, parks it illegally. He's shot dead by DeSimone. Over a dozen others, thieves, associates, even a bookie, end up dead or missing within a year, their bodies scattered from Brooklyn to Jersey. The loot's meant for the Lucchese and Gambino families. But Burke's suspected of shorting them, stoking tensions. The FBI, dubbing it the heist of the century, chases leads but hits walls. Werner, the inside man, is the only one convicted, getting 15 years. Henry Hill, a Burke associate who inspired Goodfellas' protagonist, turns informant in 1980 after a drug bust. His testimony nails Burke for unrelated crimes, but not the heist. Most of the loot, cash and jewels, vanishes, likely laundered or buried. In 2014, aging Bonanno mobster Vincent Asaro is tried for a role but acquitted, leaving the case cold. The Lufthansa Heist is a mob masterpiece immortalized in Goodfellas, undone by betrayal and blood. The Great Train Robbery. August 8, 1963, Buckinghamshire, England. It's 3 a.m. and the Glasgow to London Royal Mail train loaded with cash barrels through the quiet countryside. At Bradgo Bridge near Cheddington, the train screeches to a halt. The signal's red, but it's no accident. Someone's tampered with it. This is no ordinary holdup. A gang of 15 men, led by mastermind Bruce Reynolds, a 31-year-old career criminal who has spent months planning. They've rewired the signal, covered the green light with a glove, and powered a fake red light with batteries. When the train stops, they strike. Armed with cautious and iron bars, they overpower the driver, Jack Mills, and his co-driver, dragging them from the cab. No guns, but plenty of menace. Their target, the high-value packages coach, stuffed with 120 mailbags holding £2.6 million in used banknotes equivalent to over $50 million today. The gang unloads the sacks in under 30 minutes, passing them down a human chain to a waiting truck. They're disciplined, using only first names or nicknames like Ron or Buster to stay anonymous. But the violence leaves Mills with a fractured skull, a wound he'll never fully recover from. The gang's hideout is Leather Slade Farm, 27 miles away. They split the loot, planning to lay low. But their sloppy fingerprints cover the farmhouse, and they leave behind Monopoly money they played with during downtime. Scotland Yard, tipped off by a local, raids the farm days later. The evidence is damning: gloves, masks, and traces of the stolen cash. The manhunt is relentless. Most of the gang, including Reynolds and Ronnie Biggs, are caught within months. Biggs, a small-time crook, becomes infamous after escaping prison in 1965, living as a fugitive in Brazil for decades. The trial sees 12 of the 15 convicted, with 7, including Reynolds, getting 25-year sentences. Only £400,000 of the haul is recovered. The rest disappears, likely funneled into criminal networks or hidden stashes. The robbery's brutality and scale shock Britain, tarnishing the romantic image of the gentleman thief. The Great Train Robbery was a meticulously planned assault that exposed the vulnerabilities of Britain's mail system and cemented its place as the crime of the century. A daring heist that gripped a nation, brought down by carelessness, and immortalized as Britain's boldest crime. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Heist. March 18, 1990, in Boston, Massachusetts. St. Patrick's Day celebrations are winding down, and the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, a treasure trove of art, is quiet. Too quiet. At 1:24 a.m., 2 men dressed as police officers knock on the museum side door, claiming to investigate a disturbance. The security guards, against protocol, let them in. Big mistake. These weren't cops. They were thieves, and they were pros. They handcuffed the guards, duct taped them in the basement, and spent 81 minutes looting the museum. They didn't just grab anything, they targeted masterpieces. We're talking Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, Vermeer's The Concert, and 11 other works, valued today at over $500 million. What makes this heist so twisted? The audacity. These guys walked into a high-security museum, fooled the guards, and cherry-picked irreplaceable art like they were shopping. Theories swirl about who did it. Boston mobsters, Irish gangs, even international art smugglers. The FBI chased leads for decades, but the art's never been found. Were the paintings destroyed? Hidden in a private collection? No one knows. The museum still offers a $10 million reward, and every lead's a dead end. This wasn't just a theft. It was a gut punch to the art world, stealing pieces of human history that may never be seen again. That's the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist, a crime so slick it's still unsolved 35 years later. The Hatton Garden Heist. April 2, 2015. London's Hatton Garden, the epicenter of the UK's jewelry trade. It's the Easter bank holiday and the streets are calm. The Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company, a fortress of wealth holding millions in diamonds, gold, and cash, is locked down for the long weekend. At approximately 8 p.m., a group of men in high-visibility vests, hard hats, and gas masks approach, carrying tool bags. To anyone watching, they're just workmen fixing a routine issue. They're not workmen. They're a crew of veteran criminals, some in their 60s and 70s, later dubbed the Diamond Geezers. Led by 76-year-old Brian Reeder, a career thief with decades of experience, they've planned this job for years. Their target, the vault, packed with 999 safe deposit boxes. They disable the lift, climb down the shaft, and reach the basement. Using industrial diamond-tipped drills, they bore through a 50 centimeters thick reinforced concrete wall, a grueling task that takes hours and multiple trips over 2 nights. By April 4th, they're in. They ransack 73 boxes, stuffing bags with 14 million pounds in diamonds, gold, cash, and rare gems. The haul is staggering, enough to make them legends in the criminal underworld. But this isn't a reckless smash and grab. The crew is meticulous, exploiting the holiday's lax security and an outdated alarm system. They even bring a hydraulic ram and angle grinders, tools straight out of a heist movie. What sets this heist apart is the age of the crew members. Most are old enough to be pensioners, some with bad hips or hearing aids, yet they pull off one of Britain's biggest burglaries. But they're not infallible. CCTV captures their faces when masks slip. One thief, Terry Perkins, leaves a trail to a white van registered to a crew member. Another, Michael Seed, nicknamed Basil, the only one never caught, forgets to cover his tracks fully. These mistakes will haunt them. The Metropolitan Police, tipped off by a suspicious neighbor, launch Operation Octave. Using DNA from the scene, surveillance footage, and bugs planted in the gang's cars, they arrest most of the crew within weeks. Brian Reeder, Terry Perkins, and others are convicted, sentenced to years in prison. Only 4 million pounds of the loot is recovered. The rest, 10 million in valuables, remains missing, likely hidden in secret stashes or sold on the black market. This heist was a seismic blow to Hatton Garden's reputation as a secure haven for wealth. The Diamond Geezers proved that even the toughest vaults could fall to determination, skill, and a few well-placed drills. A masterclass in crime by an unlikely crew of pension-age thieves, undone by small mistakes. Forever etched in London's criminal lore. The Banco Central Heist. Fortaleza, Brazil, August 6, 2005. It's 6 p.m., and the weekend hum of the city fades as the Banco Central, the fortress of Brazil's currency reserves, shuts down. A block away, a nondescript house hums with activity lights flicker, and the faint sound of shovels echoes underground. This isn't a renovation job, it's the prelude to the biggest heist in Brazil's history. A crew of up to 34 thieves, masterminded by Antonio Jusivan Alves dos Santos, alias Alemão, and Luis Fernando Ribeiro, a drug trafficker tied to the PCC mafia, has been plotting for months. They rented a house 250 feet from the bank, posing as a landscaping company selling artificial turf. For 3 months, they dug an 80-meter tunnel, 4 meters deep, lined with wood and plastic, lit with electric bulbs, and cooled by an air-conditioned vent system. They moved 30 tons of dirt, bagged and smuggled out without a single neighbor's suspicion. On Friday evening, they breached the vault's 1.1-meter-thick concrete floor with diamond-tipped tools, slipping past dormant alarms and unrecorded cameras. By Saturday noon, they've looted 3.5 tons of untraceable 50-real notes worth about 70 million USD. The haul's so massive it would fill 6 water tanks. They cart it through the tunnel to a waiting van, vanishing before Monday's bank staff arrived to find a gaping hole. The thieves' precision is chilling. They targeted used bills, unmarked and due for incineration, impossible to trace. But their escape phrase when one member, Jose Charles Moraes, buys 11 cars with cash, tipping off police. The federal police launch a relentless manhunt. A truck carrying 3 of Moraes' cars is stopped in Minas Gerais, yielding 6 million reals. Raids uncovered the tunnel house, littered with plans, tools, and burn ointments for the sweltering dig. Over 5 years, 129 suspects are indicted, 26 arrested, including Alemão and Moisés Teixeira da Silva, a convicted bank robber who escaped prison in 2001. Only 53 million reals is recovered, the rest has vanished, likely laundered or buried. The heist's dark aftermath sees betrayal and violence. Ribeiro is kidnapped and murdered despite a paid ransom, hinting at cursed loot. The investigation exposes whispers of an inside job. Security flaws were too perfectly exploited. A former cop and a mayor are implicated, deepening the scandal. This heist, a blend of brute labor and cunning, didn't just rob a bank. It shook Brazil's trust in its institutions, leaving a scar as deep as that tunnel. The Antwerp Diamond Heist. February 15, 2003, Antwerp, Belgium, the world's diamond capital where 80% of rough diamonds are traded. It's a quiet weekend in the ultra-secure diamond district, and the Antwerp Diamond Center's underground vault, packed with gems worth billions, is locked tight. At around midnight, a team of thieves, disguised as diamond merchants, slips into the building unnoticed. This isn't a smash and grab. The crew, led by Leonardo Notarbartolo, a 51-year-old Italian thief from the school of Turin, has spent over 2 years planning. Notarbartolo rented an office in the center, posing as a legitimate trader to study its defenses, infrared sensors, seismic alarms, Doppler radar, magnetic locks, and a combination lock with 100 million possibilities. They built a vault replica to practice and used covert cameras to record the guards' routines. On the heist night, they disable sensors with hairspray, bypass magnetic locks with aluminum tape, and crack 109 of 89 safe deposit boxes with a custom hand crank drill. By 5:30 a.m., they've looted over $100 million in loose diamonds, gold, and jewelry, so much they can't carry it all. They escape without tripping alarms, leaving no trace of violence. The haul, possibly worth up to $400 million, makes this the largest diamond heist ever. But their getaway unravels when one thief, Pietro Tavano, nicknamed Speedy, panics and dumps evidence, a half-eaten sandwich and a receipt along a roadside. The fifth member, the King of Keys, a master forger, vanishes and is never caught. Notarbartolo gets 10 years, the others 5 each. Only a fraction of the loot is recovered. Most diamonds remain missing, likely sold or hidden.